Well, I'll help out Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Well, whatever we're selling inside of here, it's a war zone. It's about getting up here on the stage.
Good morning. My name is Major Rivera,
We
and
can
I
go
work
ahead
with
and start
CDID as a capability developer.
breaking it
before
down
we
just
start,
like that. The brainology.
I will
Neural
give you a
net.
slight introduction to multi-domain battle. It's a video. It's about a minute and 46
That's kind of where we
seconds
are
long,
from it. From
and it has
whoever the main line
senior
is. I'm not
leaders
exactly sure
and
if
their
Parkins
interpretation
come
of
up with it
multi-domain.
directly.
And
These
just keep
are
in mind,
offset key
multi-domain
models
is fairly
on
new.
the.
It's in its infancies.
Well, STEM model's been around for a
The
while.
version 1.0 that
That's
came
the
out
Greshamless
in
law
October
kind of necessary model. You
is
know what
actually
STEM
only a
is?
draft.
Alright, this is one
We're
of
still
those.
trying to figure
Now we're
out
here. This is
the
one of these
concurrence with
brief.
the
We're going to go
Marines.
show you
They
what a
non-concurred,
key
so
to a large
for us to
number
push it out,
looks
we
like.
pushed it out
And
as a
right
draft,
now,
and then once we get the
is
concurrence
that one.
from
Generally,
our
why I come up
partners,
with a speech
they'll
about
actually go ahead
some of the
and give us
numbers
the
inside
go-ahead.
of here.
So,
Some of the numbers inside of here that will correlate certain indicated models. I'm sure.
Tomorrow's battlefield is a tangled web of unknown, uncertain, and constantly changing
So
conflict.
this will come up next on
The
that.
operational environment that
Talking
we're
about the
facing
book,
now
you know,
is
Sign Your Name in
increasing
Ledger.
in
The first
complexity,
king thought
especially
taking it
compared
out
to
to
even
90,
the operational
900
environment
years.
that I grew up in.
It's not
and a
just
lot
some of
other
that. Think
officers
about
of my time.
what
We
it
grew
can
up
be when
sort
nobody
of the
gives a
height of the
damn
Cold
anymore
War,
anyways.
where you were
But
focused on
change
one enemy, the
role
Soviet
and
Union, in one location,
doing
the
the
Central Plains
thing,
of Europe, the Fulda Gap, with one
you're gonna
coalition, NATO.
generally
Now
do some
we
stuff
have
about,
a
you
wide
know,
range of enemies. We have
math
peer,
problem that
non-peer
takes
competitors.
a minute
We
to draw
have
that takes 2
hybrid
minutes
threats.
to
We
do.
have rogue
In
states. We have
Lululand here
hyper-empowered
about
individuals.
some rings
So
you'll
you
be
can't
going
just
through
pick
on
one threat
what
or
might be
one
written here
location
on
of the world, or even
Thought
one
Scribes
coalition.
tablets
We've been dealing
or
with a
anybody
very narrow
else's
threat. And now,
inside of
as
what's
we've
the
been
area under the
focusing on
curve
that threat,
here, dealing
peer
with the most
adversaries
accurate
are now focused
map
on
of
hybrid
Earth,
asymmetric
right down
capabilities
to
that we haven't had to deal with in a
the
long time.
human.
And our
If I had one of my other
competitors and
models out,
adversaries have learned to test our advantages in all
Vitruvian
domains
people
and are
inside
ahead
of
of us
here.
in some of those domains. And we see the constant competition.
Being a
in
bit
domains
dramatic
that
inside
challenges
here.
the international
Oh, who's
order
painting the
Pacific
picture
ever
today?
been.
What's
Some
going
of our
on? How
biggest
does it work? Is
problems
there better
in the
moves to beat
combat
the devil out of
environment
it?
are
Bob
the
Rossi,
readiness
tell
of our
me.
forces for this tough,
It's gonna
contested
come off
environment.
like some
We fought
spooky
in a
ass
more cohesive
SCPs that don't have a
environment, so
number.
we've
If
got
you
to
knew what it
regain
looked
our
like,
readiness
this
to
thing's
fight
gonna come
against the
charging
peer,
a
against
cage
somebody
at
that
you.
can
You're gonna
challenge
have
us
to
across
ready to
the
be
board in our capabilities.
able to
That
answer that
operational
question,
environment,
because if
does
you
create
aren't
natural
and you
challenges
don't
for
have those
forces,
hieroglyphics
and
kind of worked out to the number that
how
it is,
fast we can
being
respond,
chemistry or
to
650,
reactions
I
from
got somewhere around here. I'm sure I got one of them. It was 65, 670.
Our
Grooming
adversaries have
policies
learned our
based on
tactics and capabilities.
tactic capabilities. Have you? This is kind of an impossible math problem. Just go ahead and move this over here for you, brother. Let me take this up for you. You're here. Gotcha, big guy. Well, this is kind of one of those things we got to
So
get ready
before
to.
we begin, just in a nutshell, what multi-domain battle,
It's,
as we see it.
anti-meme.
I know it's a busy slide. So when we
Literally.
talk about multi-domain battle, we're looking at all 5 domains, which is space, cyberspace, air, land, and maritime. Currently, if y'all have heard of the air-land battle concept, is what we use right now for
Tell me
operations.
about them stubs, boys.
But with the future threat, we had to come up with
Board
a
factory.
brand new concept, which
Factories.
includes all of the multi-domain battles. And what it
I
does,
get
it
it. I
integrates
get the BAH
the employment
subsidies,
of
the game,
capabilities
the corn
across all
garden,
domains
you know, as far as the oil
to
supply out
over
there. And you'd
time and
imagine
space.
inside of there
So
it'd
when
be
we talk
rough.
about time and
It'd be
space,
rough on them, I know. It can't
that
really much do
is
much in
something
here
that we're
because
still
that's the
trying to figure
line.
out. Because we do not have an
I'm
idea
on my own with the
or
kill
working
agents
out
here at the
what
SCP Foundation.
time is, which can be a couple of seconds, minutes,
Well,
weeks,
Space
years,
Marine is something I
and then
keep
space
close to home,
at this point.
so.
And then the whole purpose
In
is
there,
to contest
you know, we
the
needed
enemy
infrastructure. There's
at
some numbers about
preferably
it that
below armed
certainly
conflict, because we're looking at
deal
periods of
with
competition now
arguments
versus
that
phases.
have
So this is how we're integrating
realities
into a
of
multi-domain battle,
needing the
and
drilly
if when
sergeant
required,
vets
to defeat them in armed conflicts.
and
So the whole goal of
NCO or
multi-domain
whatever you
battle
got there,
is
whatever's in
to
there.
one,
AO.
deter, but if
Um,
necessary, to defeat in the armed conflict. So
Get
this
out
is
there
just
with
kind
Ash
of an
Ketchum with an air
overview
cannon.
of
Don't
what
even care about
multi-domain
him,
battle
no
looks
more
like
catch
with
him.
all
We can
of
get
its
in there and make a video. I
forces
can make a video
and
about
playing
you.
together as a synchronized
Do
unit
the,
to defeat the enemy.
Do the system. Be
So
sure you
the
don't need to
purpose
serve a
and the
day in
agenda for
uniform.
today
So
is
be
to
ready to
provide
pick
an
them up if
overview
they're
of
in there
multi-domain
because
battle. And it's fairly simple. We'll
Well,
look
they
at
are in the
OE,
ranks.
the
You are
framework,
on Earth.
how the enemy sees
There's
their
a door.
operations,
They
the keys,
do,
the solutions
and they
for
did.
multi-domain battle,
Much
which
as
is
I could
calibrate
call out
course,
the
posture,
probability,
converge capabilities,
probably
resilient,
E2s do pretty good
formations,
on knowing where sergeant
and
is.
then
Right, knife hand.
go into discussions.
Here, 15 minutes
So when we
on.
Hey, so hey,
look at the implications of the OE,
Okay, so hey.
by
Mastering
2030
basics out here.
time frame is what we're looking at. These trends
After the build
will get
up,
worse
or the
if
blow
we don't
ups,
change. So if we're not able to
obviously I can't go
work in
back
a
and say
contested
things about
environment,
environments.
so
I
that
know
meaning
immediately they
the
would
greater
rush to, but the
comms,
timing needs to be so precise on
we're
things
looking at
here. Because even if I knew,
no more
yeah, they'd station out there. But
superiority
if
for
I didn't
medical
know exactly the
evacuation, lack
day,
of
or I'm not going to
logistical
go look
resupply,
at it, or
we're looking at semi-independent operations, meaning that
semi-imperial
being
mass
able to
equations
operate independently
with
for upwards
whole
to
bunch of
7
different-
days if
sorry,
need be,
pick up
without
something.
support.
um,
When we
stuff
look
happening.
at increased lethality, the enemy at this point, when we're looking at the future warfare, has better
I
range
want
of
to see a few
capabilities.
things.
They can fire long-range capabilities
There's
and hit us when it hurts.
BAH,
So they
BAR about
they
downtown
outnumber
on
us. They
some
can
of that
outfire
there
us at this
numbers
point.
about
So
what
as a
happens
multi-domain
downtown
battle, we have to figure out a way
is
to
the
defeat
pack,
the enemy
the
or
railgun,
deter it
right?
with a
The
smaller, more effective,
hydronic
efficient
glider,
unit.
if you would.
A
A bit of
complex
optics
environment.
for you on some rabbit
You
kelka
know,
about
no longer are we
diagrams,
fighting in the
chasing
plains
Feynman
and the
around,
deserts.
Penn's
We're
row and
looking
his
at
twister
megacities.
theory and the
We're looking
cosmic
at dense
radiation
urban
background right
environments.
now.
These are the future fights. The future
This
environments,
board,
subterranean, underground
having
facilities.
some of this stuff
All
ready
of
to
these
throw
are
up there and be ready for board
potential
presentation across the
locations that we look at when we
strong
look
force,
at
weak force,
increased
the
or
squeaky
complex
weakities, the
environments.
light and sound.
we're
Great.
fighting in their
At the end of
territory,
it, it's
not
still going to run
ours.
its cycle.
So
They
that
operate.
increases the complexity of the environment
It's
itself.
congruent for the most part.
And then challenge deterrence is what we're looking for. We
that
want to deter
Calmancer.
the enemy as much as
This
possible.
punt gun running.
As we go forward, we'll talk
But
about
never happened.
what the definement of phases versus periods, because that's where the rubber meets the road, where we have to understand where
Wow, this.
conflict
Take that. Take this little square right here. Okay,
is
ready?
where we're
Ready?
trying to deter. We
Nice.
do not want to
Okay.
get to a point where we have to get to armed conflict. If we can deter prior to, then that's where the implications of OE
I
is
said you'd be
deterring the
gone.
enemy.
That's why it
before
doesn't
we get to
happen.
the
People
phase
that are too
or
salty or
period
have to
of
be
armed
kept too
conflict.
sharps. I'll show you how I throw down the 72,
So
36
when we
of
talk
them
about
down in
space,
here. Let's dance.
The operational framework.
But you know you're a Zazel kid. You know
it's
you're
divided into
Lou.
6
You got
areas,
your
and
Jocko.
down in
Who's going to be
the
about to
brief
be
itself,
raised
we'll
from
show
the
you
dead
an actual
Necron
picture
around
in
here
color to
over
show
at,
you what we mean
what's up, what's
when we talk
going
about
down.
Hey, some master
the strategic areas. So when we look at strategic support, we're
Well,
looking at the
probably like,
cross-command coordination, strategic sea-land locks, lines of communication, and our homeland.
Hope you're all having a good time.
So that's here.
Well, again,
and
when this
prior
guy
to
is going
getting
to talk
the area
about
of
this
operations.
resource planet, our
The
baby
operational
formula,
support is
the
just the joint
Folgers,
C2,
Gillette
sustaining
game,
fires,
retirement, a
strike
Ford,
capabilities located
and Home
within the
Depot
land
and
and
not
sea of
totally
operations.
understand it, right? You get a little
And
locked
as
up
we
with
go
me.
through this, just keep in mind,
Doctoral
we're giving you a brief
bases,
overview
military
of MDB,
institutions,
and then towards the end,
community
we'll show you how
colleges, my
medical,
backyard.
Army Health Services falls
Hey, our
into this and how
backyard,
we link
we
into
150.
the
We
integration
will
of
be needing to
multi-domain
go
battle.
to Home Depot and pick up a few
And
materials around
tactical
here,
support
but given the MOS of the
what we
Carpenter
call prior
Union
to
and the
getting to the
2000
close
you
area. So
get
close
for
area
the
is where the
college
rubber meets the road.
facility
That's
training that you
where
might get,
the
we
actual
can do
armed conflict
congruency
happens.
from here, given
So
certain
if we
gambits.
get to that point where
Right?
we actually
Lean
have
on this
to
cowboy real good.
conduct or fight the enemy, the close areas is what we're looking at. And then once we get into deep maneuver areas and deep fire areas and strategic deep fire areas, those are the locations where ground forces is where we want to get
I
the
can
ground
take an
forces to.
uncrackable code like this, walk into
this
the
is
area
where
of
it's beyond the
operation
reach
where the
of
system
conventional
is
forces
just Cuban. We could make this
and
quartz
where
quatrains,
Joint special operation forces
quantizations
and
of
virtual
the
capabilities
real
can be
estate
employed.
market under E2
So,
with certain
long
models
range
inside
fires
here.
and so forth.
And you got to be ready to pack that. Well, I'm out there. You may not. Okay, things are weird in the
Okay,
read
when we're
technique.
looking at
Come
combined
in,
on
show
fires,
information, do
this
certain
slide here,
things to general body problems.
We're talking about
In there in the tomb with it.
fires
looking,
as
well,
it
okay,
depicts
this,
for
I've
us.
seen this
So when we're
before,
looking at the
757.
offensive, which is on the far right, It's
Thinking about
basically targeting adversaries and creating the multi-domain posture,
about models
which
that
is the
getting
windows
deep
of
into
opportunity.
it, finding extra new
And when we talk
connections,
about windows of opportunity, once
stock
again,
market,
it's
or
talking about time
not just mentioned, but
and space.
time, space.
So
This
when we
little
create
LED right
these
here,
windows
it'll
of
blink. It's a whole
opportunity,
process, really.
we're not quite sure
It's
how long we have within that time and
innovated,
space.
let's say,
So
Kathy.
when we're looking at fires and we're looking at cyber and space, this is where when we talk about, you know, agile forces to be able to get into the windows of opportunity to provide fires into the enemy's forces so that we can get in there and defeat the enemy. And then when we're looking at the defensive focus, it's just protecting our assets. And as you can see, the support
how would
area,
I take
close
on
area, and
Joe?
the deep
Dump
area,
in the pineal
was
gland. You
part
got
of
a
the
little bit
airland
about
battle
some giant
concept that we
monkeys and
currently
Bigfoot
have.
aliens, and you're ready to go, cowboy. 50
And
minutes
so
prior, 50
when we
minutes
talk
prior.
about phases and periods of competition,
555 right here.
so we're used to having 5 phases. So now when you look at the multi-domain battle concept,
Okay, so
you're looking at
that's a bit about
periods
what
of competition.
Marshmallows.
So there's
More
3
is
periods of
that less
competition.
is
You're looking
more
at
fangs.
the
He's setting into
competition,
this
period of
rabbit.
competition, which is prior to the armed conflict. So that's
Oh, okay, press
roughly
the
about
button.
your phases
Yeah,
0
that's the
to
extra
2.
button. Yep, it's that extra
Your armed
button. I know
conflict
because
is phase 3, of course.
I know.
And then return to competition, which is everything else, phase 4 and 5.
How do I know?
So when
how do I know
picturing
Nobel?
periods
No,
of competition,
I like no 15 or
we
45
can't
minute
really define
Pens row
the difference
demonstration
between
on this
competition,
Allison
armed
Bob
conflict, and
mod
return
for your
competition
blankety
because,
winkities right
you
in
know,
this
by
area right
flicking your
here
finger,
about what this
you
bunny's
can
doing, right?
change
Some
over
twisted
from
theory
one to the other. They're all
twisters.
interchangeable.
It's
But it
complicated.
gives you a framework as
Now,
far as
I don't know what the
we're
course
looking at when
leisure
we're
in this
looking at,
manner would have represented.
logistical
I know
support
generally cowboys
and
come to
areas
me
of
kicking
operation
about
when we're looking
the
at
normal,
the whole battlefield
the normal.
framework. So when we're looking at framework, it's space itself.
I'm
I know
running
this
too
is a
long
2D
here.
picture.
Yeah, you're just gonna
but
get
it's
into what was that picture?
the
That
war,
one
as we
was,
see it, is asymmetrical.
let's
It's
see.
no longer just
Oh,
land.
wrong page.
It's all around us. It can be in front of us, behind
That's
us,
a night shift.
above,
at
and
a-
also
at a-
below when we
well,
talk
I have a
about
McDonald's
subterranean
Special
operations.
Forces conversation about here, this ASVAB and Putin. This would be
Okay,
field
so
trips
when we look at
with
this slide
students
here,
at Y. Why
we're
of them
looking
are
at
officers, sergeants,
threat
whatever, how
systems
this is about to go down the
that
rabbit
we
hole.
may
2 of them
encounter
happen to
when
be
we're looking at
Steph and
multi-domain
Jenna.
battle,
Hi, Steph
which
and
are
Jenna. One of them's
reconnaissance,
Dave. He's making a bank
unconventional
loan. I bet.
warfare, conventional
Some
forces,
kind of frame rate
and
of
information
PRT,
warfare.
of Newton meters to
And
coulomb to
all
Curies,
this really depicts
Gausses and Hertz.
is
You're about to
how the enemy uses
FMA
their
all day.
assets and their capabilities
And the
against
ratio.
us when they're doing
You got a black
either
Ford, one of these bad puppies
all
right
three
here, probably
phases of the
Malone,
competition.
hillbillies and hippies. You know,
And
he's a gay guy, happy to admit
threat's
it, but that
purpose
doesn't really, the
for
leadership on the bunny farm
the
kind
threat
of,
before
the total all
competition
index,
is
you got to pull it.
to
And it
separate
kind of
us
does,
politically.
you know,
So
troubadours,
the game
wild
for them,
horses,
the name of the
and
game in competition
housing
for
real
the
estate
enemy
market
itself
guys on.
is how do they affect us politically
Alright.
to
Hold
deter
on.
us, to separate us from ourselves, our allies, and our partners.
Oh,
And
thanks,
like I
Drew.
said, so the overall effect
Sure we
and the
get
distinction between competition and armed conflict is
Where
blurred.
is she?
So when you're looking at the multi-domain
Anyways,
battle, and if
we'll
you
keep her
ever get
going.
a chance to read it,
The ASVAB there.
it's
So
open
just a
for
basic
interpretation.
algorithm.
Because
First sergeant board
in
models.
its
You know, which one is
yeah, it's in
necessary?
its
When you go
infancy,
real 111 about leadership, it's
there's
always that
really
one.
no
That is the
distinct definition
anti-mean
of
math problem
what
of what we
phase
did.
or competition
Then
the
there's some
period is.
institutional
So there's
fundamental
really
models
a blurred
of
line, and they're all
they
interchangeable.
can kind of handle the blankety wankities on rifle inspection. It all kind of
And then once
correlates
again, when
to
we get into
the
armed
Ryman
conflict,
sphere
if we
here
actually have
about
to go
playing the
face to face,
game and
This is how the
catching
enemy
salty
will
on
use
some
its
wave
assets
operator
when it comes
about the
to
Vitruvium, any
their
outie
special
upside downies.
operations, their unconventional warfare,
Conventional warfare, they say. Huh?
or
You do
informational
the
warfare, and their conventional forces. And as
Call
you
me
can
4F.
see, they're all interlinked. They all can be used at any time of the operation itself,
He did
whether
that.
it's now and in competition. When we look at the phases,
Well, again, you get them
you
jumping the
know,
motorcycle
it's not
and
just once we get
doing
to
this,
the
which
actual
gets
area
us
of
into computered
operations.
programming,
Cyber and
which
space can
very
happen
good about
years
basic
before
money
we
in the
actually
bank.
go into conflict.
What do you know about it? Never
It can
learned
happen
it.
now. I mean, we're
Vocabulary,
looking at
NPA,
technology
more is less,
that
less
can
is
get into
more.
our systems
Could
and
have
so
been
forth.
Warhammer,
So when
could
we
have
look
been
at cyber
computers,
and
could have been,
space, it's possible that
could
it's
have
working out.
been. What are we
So
running here?
that
Yes,
point,
programming this
when we're
block
looking at
in the sawmill, right?
planning
You know,
ahead,
which one of these
forecasting into
has
the
a very
future
different
with medical
model
assets we have to look at
generally every
years
time,
ahead, and that's
given
what cyber
how
and space does.
the
for us.
topology, the trucking's gonna do, the slope there, I suppose. Hanging beam.
So, just a little
the
brief
thing.
explanation on
Oops,
the
I left the
problems that
file
we
on
have
the
with
floor.
multi-domain.
See what the kids
There's
do.
5 distinct problems that we're looking at here. The first one being, how do we deter the enemy from escalating from the competition phase
I like
or the
some
competition
bosses.
period
Some
into
of
armed
my
conflict?
Don, Paul,
Number
Pete,
2
some of
is
the
how do we
Mike.
support
Oh yeah, Mike's in
and
there.
defend
a few
our
of them. Mike Prime.
strategic areas, support areas, our conventional armies?
He had to fight for that
The
day at
3
Alport.
is how do we conduct deep maneuver
The marriage
forces
burial there.
when we go in
On
maneuver
Dave Titan and
by
coming
air,
up.
by naval, and ground forces. So we're looking at long-range
Catching some
fires,
numbers on a
getting our
COVID
ground
set right.
forces in
You know,
positions
some
to defeat
basic
the enemy.
logarithms that pull out some numbers that give you a good guess on.
Fourth
Okay,
is
that's what this
plain and
cowboy's
simple,
doing.
close
He's
area.
going
How
to
do we
be
defeat the enemy
in
once
this
we
area
go
right
force on
here.
force?
When
And that's usually ground forces. And number 5 is, how do we consolidate our gains? How do we recoup after we've denied the enemy after our fights? And to give you just a sense of how this is broken down by the services, the Marine Corps is really most interested in problem number 4, which is a close area fight. The Air Force and the U.S.
Tight
Navy
bones.
are interested in problems 2 and 3, which makes sense because you're looking at protecting our assets and then
Doing very
producing
well.
long-range fires into the enemy's area of operations. And then when you're looking at special operation forces, they're interested in
not
problem 1
far
and 3.
apart,
1,
really.
because
when
usually
you
we're able to get some of
think
these
about
units
it.
in prior to getting the initial forces in.
Small X.
And when we're looking at how can we change the mindset of the enemy or where we're going into,
Well,
that's
get a
part
crayon.
of
Well,
the gaming
start
system
chiseling
is being able to deter, being able to go in
Vishnu
and change
Gita,
the
or what is
mindset
it,
of the enemy so
the
that
Cabal.
there
You gotta
is
get the hermetic key
less
out.
of a possibility that we get into armed conflict.
Yeah,
But
buddy.
it-
At once
for the
put a
Army-
monument out back.
We're interested in all 5.
About whole fighters. Taking out this guy's microcosm. This is a joke about like the microcosm.
looking at
Like
one of the
when I mean, all right.
solutions
So you guys
in
know the stock
the
market. You do the
multi-domain
pie
battle.
chart on the Putinum. Over
But one of
there,
the
you
most
do the
important implications
base
of the way the enemy
command on.
fights
Well, what was my
is
one
that our
one
forces have to maximize
Right.
freedom of maneuver.
What's
So
this
how do
one?
we
Oh,
maximize
yeah,
freedom of
here we go.
maneuver
Okay,
when we
the
have
little
degraded
thing.
comms,
It's a thing. It's an
degraded
object. Back to the.
communications, and lack of
Object.
air superiority,
It's an
and
object.
so forth.
There's a whole
So
lot
when
of
we look
hurt
at
locker in that
the
thing, man.
force posture, we're looking at
Bunch
the
of
equation
drills, all
there.
brackets, and
Our 4 position
lunar
forces
magnets.
and partner forces, because this is a partner
I kind of talk about it
system,
like a cow
to
has
defeat the
digital
enemy in
dermatitis
competition.
in the stock market, right? And she's
So that's
flopping
the
around. She's
solid blue
snowflake
line.
out there. Look at her.
All the
Poor thing.
expeditionary forces, 4 position and partner forces.
Blast this
But they
the
also
steel
have to
beat
defend
sheer field force, right? I mean, this is a different one. This is
The
torque.
space
How about
and deny the enemy
the hammer dynamo?
the
But
ability to attack
all
space
all
and
that
cyberspace.
really is close to P, close to Q, kind of like
But
salty
the whole
squid
point of
neck.
this here, the key
Real
factor, the X
They
factor,
are like-
is space, cyberspace,
like
and information capabilities.
Really close. See,
Because at this point
this
right
one,
now, once, like I
salt
said
pusher,
before,
kid learning,
we are not
everything
able
is
to
good. Knife
determine
hand, awesome. And this
what the
one,
value is,
the
what the
chemistry
known value
experiments
is,
makes
if we're looking
fire.
at numbers,
It's on
if we're
fire.
looking at an
Fire
equation.
hydrant, everybody
We
running out the
do
door.
not have the ability
You
to
see, knife hand
give it
also
a
work
value,
chemistry.
give it a
Good,
set
good.
percentage
Both those motherfuckers
of how
pushing. They
that
pushing up daisies.
piece,
Here,
which is
V1Z.
space and cyberspace and information
zero.
will apply to calibrating the forces
So back to the
during
overhead of that
multi-domain
mill.
battle.
Sorry for my squeaky here. And grabbing the marshmallow, trying to get it.
So
Everybody
what we're
kind of
saying
mint in
is
different waves. You're,
we have to figure out
you're
what
minting
our force
waves at
structure is,
36 years old,
the best
5'9",
way to
150, and happen to be male. And you may be in
do our
any
future
quadrant
force
in this
structure
position.
to
Hot window
be able to
open,
deter the
fire
enemy
on, poison gas,
in
dump it into
multi-domain
your
battle.
locked door, bones got you in it, right?
The
Salty.
key solution number 2
One of
is
us,
we're talking
some
about
cop,
convergence. And that's,
the interrogator,
like
the
CG says,
suspect,
the
a
integration
civilian,
of capabilities
right,
across all
interrogator,
domains,
some 5 man
environments,
steps
functions
becoming,
in time and
you got
space
4
to
of them up
achieve
here,
the
5 of
purpose.
them down here, and a wrench
And
on
the
the table.
purpose is to deter and defeat the enemy during competition, during the time of competition. And we look at
And
the
this will
word
really
key.
drop out some stuff. Your
Keyword
cow
is
has good
windows of
little
opportunity.
dermatitis. If you can
And
get,
like I
why they
said
call it
before,
dead cow disease, because
it's
most of the
difficult
farriers that have to buy
as
the
it is
equipment
now
to
to
really get
figure out
into
what
fixing
window
that
of
cow. I
opportunity
wish
is.
I had it. It would
And that
come up
question
on
comes up
YouTube, but
a lot
you can
as
check
well,
out some
too, is
farrier.
how much time do we have?
Oh,
How
it's a
much time
mess.
do we
Eating
have
cow
to
shit and just
to
beat up.
maximize our
Clean it out, stack it in
area,
there,
or for our
silicone it with a
instance,
hard
medical
pan on there.
support?
They might
How much time do we
walk a little
have
funny,
to
but they
provide area
won't die,
evacuation, provide
and they won't be so
casevac?
mean that they
How much
can
time do we have to
make
treat
it from
patients?
Tylenol or aspirin. Right?
You know,
Take
and
aspirin,
as we go forward and we get to
salicylic
later
acid,
slides,
pack that
you know,
shit in there.
those are some of the key
pencil
questions that we
factory
look
over
at
here
in
with your
multi-domain
bureau,
when
and
it
somebody
comes to
gives you
medical
that stuff, but you still
support.
got to remember them. Hey, the
Is
pencil number 2 is a good little fuse for a 9 or 12 volt car battery, right? To
have
charge
the
your phone,
ability
big guy.
to
Hey, be
support
careful now.
the warfighter? I mean, the answer
it's a little
could be
different.
yes,
You have
could
to
be
wait for
no.
it. But saying certain things like I have this,
But as they move
it's tough,
forward,
big guy.
if you're not moving every 2 to 3 hours, like they
You're
say,
gonna have a
the
hard time
maneuver
choosing
guys,
underneath this one.
then you're a
underlining
sitting
it.
duck. So
It's
when you look
a
at a lot of our
photon,
organizations
Apple,
right
and a
now,
Hydron
the
Collider out of the
hospitals,
plane.
the
The black body
FRCTs,
problem is well
once they're actually
parachute
conducting
firstly, but it'll
operations, treatment,
jump
they're
straight
sitting
down
ducks. They're
out
too
of
bulky, they're
that
too
plane
big,
there
they take up too much space, too much energy, and
if
of
it's not
course,
dock trained.
security.
It causes a
So
fight.
those are some of the stuff that the commander has to think about when you're employing
It's open.
medical forces.
This is at your leisure. I'm gonna take it
How
away
do we
from you in a
create
minute.
those windows of opportunity to maximize our medical support for the
There's
warfighters?
some Saturday service on the Jews killing
so
Jews, Jews
just,
killing Romans killing
The
Jews, killing
dotted
Jews.
the dotted boxes are,
You know,
are
Normandy and
windows
Delport,
of
battle readiness.
opportunity. And like it says, we can't really put a time or a space to it.
Stab anybody for drawing
But like it
circles in the
says,
sand around
once
here,
we
sure.
get that windows of opportunity, we have to maximize the opportunity to create effective medical support.
So I think that's a good note.
And lastly, it's the employment
Thank
of
you.
resilient formations.